just gonna jump right in if everybody's ready. Okay, we will call our meeting to order. If we could have a roll call, please.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's okay.
Trustee Giroux.
Here.
Trustee Giroux.
Here.
Trustee St. Germain.
Here.
Trustee Ernst.
Here.
Trustee Pomponio.
Here.
And Trustee Robinson.
Here.
All present.
Okay, we'll do the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I believe we did the open meeting statement last time. I don't
We
think I
did.
took that off.
Mhm.
So that needs to be taken off of there.
Okay.
There is no statement.
So we can have an approval of the agenda, subtracting line item D.
I move that we approve the agenda minus line item D.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda minus line item D. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Public input tonight?
Nope.
Okay. Consent agenda.
I'll move that we approve the consent agenda.
A second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. I admit I didn't make it back on there to make sure everything was good. Did anybody, it looked good? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
Who seconded the first motion? Sorry.
I did.
Chris, Christine. Sorry.
Can we discuss artwork?
Sorry.
Well, I was just for a moment realizing, gosh, we went from two Gregs to now two Chris's. What
I
is
know.
with this? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No originality.
Yes, good.
I like to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reports and recognitions. It looks like our, of course, administrators are off for the month of July, so we're going to skip the building reports. And Russ is our hardworking programs director who has a report for us today. New computers, and he's been working hard.
Always does.
Mhm.
Questions for Russell?
Anything for Russell?
No, it's just cool that he looks like a DJ over there.
We're gonna start that soon.
Boom, chicka, boom.
Nope, thank you for getting us.
Superintendent report.
Yes. It's over here. Lost. So did you guys have any questions up front from anything on this report? So one of the latest developments on our search for our district office, I think we finally came to the conclusion we can squeeze into our programs office, and we're going to call it central office, as in centralized squeezing. So we'll be fine in there. I think we have some good space. What we've got figured out, Russell and I have done a lot of configuring on that, and we're ready to do that. So talked to a contractor this morning that's going to do a couple of walls for our office spaces. We'll have those. They're going to start Thursday. So we'll be in good shape with that, I think.
Good.
And then we'll do next year. Hopefully we can get something on the outside to redo that, kind of clean it up a little and make it a little more.
Prices are starting to go back down.
Yeah. It's a good
Is
thing.
the Vista still renting the yard? leasing the
Yes.
yard?
Yes. So we do that year to year annually. So we'll revisit that next year. And if we decide to ever build on or anything like that, we would, obviously adjust that. Yeah. Yep. So as we go down this list, one of the things that I have several things for you guys just. So in our next meeting, we're going to have a bunch of plans to approve and to go through. And I just kind of wanted to give you a heads up. We're going to talk a little bit about the continuous improvement plan. I have a link on here on our agenda, and I'll share that with you guys again through email as well. But there's a really good webinar on that, a recorded webinar that's only 15, 20 minutes long, but it was very, very informative. And they've changed a little bit of the rules on it this year. They've added some things, they've taken off some things, combined some things. So before we get too deep into it, I'd like for you guys to look at that, and then we'll plan on August going through that and really kind of getting into details on it. So get your mind to working on that. We also have our safety plan we'll be approving in August. Our bus routes. So I'll meet with our law enforcement and first responders before that meeting and just confirm, but our plan probably won't change a whole lot. Things have kind of stayed the same, but we'll confirm that. Then we do our bus routes, those plans. And then what else did we have? I think that was it.
So I was wondering, when I opened it and it was empty, it was like, oh, could you send the one from last year? So that those of us
Oh.
that are not
The
aware.
safety, which plan?
The continuous improvement plan.
Oh, yeah, it's on our website.
Yes? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yep. So that was another thing I was going to tell you on, as far as our website, we got things kind of caught up on our new website. We fell behind because we had a person doing that and then they left us. So we're doing a little bit of internal training so we can all kind of put our own pieces on there, but it's preliminarily built. We just need to fancy it up a little bit. So I have been able to get the agendas on there. I'm working on getting the minutes on there. We'll be in our budgets on there. We'll get our financial statements, and then we'll get our plans on there, which are required as well. So as we go through this, I'll get those lined up. It's just been a little bit of, new stuff and lots going on. So we'll get that handled and get everything lined up. So another piece of that is I wanted to tell you guys that our board openings coming up for the November election. So Zone 5 and Zone 4, which is Charity and Angie. Those dates for that will be, we need to publish that between August 20th and 27th. People can sign up for those positions August 23rd through September 3rd. So there's a 2-week window there. So August 23rd through September 3rd. Actually, the statute reads it's no earlier than 8 a.m. on the 11th Monday, nor later than 5 p.m. on the 9th Friday immediately preceding the election, which comes out to those dates. Yeah. It's quite a code they have there.
Yes.
So
That way it doesn't ever have to, they don't have to update dates.
exactly.
You never have to update a date.
Well, I've seen previously in other states, they will just say you register in the month of August for the, or September, that whole month, but that would be too exciting. So, yep. I think that's it unless there's other things on here. We still have fire crews in our high school. They are, and we've signed a contract with them. They pay us $2,000 a month for the facility use and then $600 a week to cover janitorial and other additional expenses such as copy paper, power, those type of things. So we have, our crew is working some overtime hours. We're allotting up to about 14 hours of overtime that we'll pay time and a half towards that because it's a very specific thing. So that will come from those funds. And they're working 2 to 4 hours a day to keep up with them as far as cleaning and supplies. So
No rain in the forecast. Tomorrow.
I've been doing rain dances.
Who hasn't?
Right. If we all do it at the same time.
My one comment about the safety plan that's due to be reviewed and approved in August is that we were talking that with our expulsion hearings and issues that we had at the high school this past year, maybe we could invite the prosecuting attorneys as well, so that we can make sure that part of the safety plan also involves law enforcement and prosecution of those offenses that are becoming a problem in the school. Does that make sense?
Yep. So that meeting right now is lining up to be a pretty big one because we were to have some of those expulsions be reviewed on that August 16th date. So we will have some updates on those as well. If we need to do a couple of nights or something that week, but there's a lot of things we need to get done prior to school starting on the 25th. So just kind of keep that in mind. If we could do it in one, that'd be fine. Maybe we start earlier and try to get through them. Yeah. But after about 3 to 4 hours, we'll be pretty mushy brained. There's a lot going on.
Do we have like a work session for the safety plan?
So what I've been doing in the years past is we've went through and I've met with law enforcement and first responders, and we've had last year we did a Zoom meeting, of course, and the year before we met in person and get all their input. We review the plan with our administrators as well in TAC, in place, And then you guys can review that. And if you have questions from there, I mean, I'll submit it to you as soon as we get it formulated and you can review it. But I'm fine if you guys are a part of that as well. It's up to you. But ultimately, you guys have the approval. So,
Break it up a little bit.
yeah. Yeah.
And I imagine one of the differences, you guys do that during the day, like on one of
Yeah,
those days
we
before the
try,
meeting,
yes, we
when
try
everybody's
to,
at
yeah.
work and.
Yep.
Yep.
We try to do like it seems to work pretty well to have a noon meeting because we can catch people while they're eating and, just kind of away from their regular job as well. So,
I wouldn't mind
okay.
sitting in on that.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll send you guys out the invite to it. If you want to participate, fine. If you don't, fine. And we'll set up a Zoom link as well so you can participate as well.
Cool.
So, yeah, it's good input. It's good stuff. And, we started out pretty general. We're getting more and more specific. So a lot of that information as we do that won't be, 2 or less of you. So we don't have a public meeting
Right.
because that will have to be kept confidential. A lot of those escape routes and locations, those type of things, we keep those to ourselves. So that's not public information.
So to share this comment about the prosecuting attorney's office, I
Mhm.
just think it's important that we have a conversation about consequences
Mhm.
of the kind of behaviors that we're.
Right. Yep. Yeah, and a lot of those things, as you well know, are kind of out of the scope of, there are some things that fall into law enforcement, and then we have our own policies that we follow as well. But if we can be consistent across the board, link those together, that's great strength.
Yeah, I was thinking just a message
Mhm.
that says, we want consequential actions as
Right.
a result of this as a mechanism to hopefully stop it.
And
Right.
is
Reduce.
a lot of that stuff too is ongoing, but you don't know about it because it does deal with juveniles. So it's
Right.
really.
You never
yeah.
know the
I
outcome.
just
You
think
never
that
know the
the
outcome
message
of
is
that.
important.
Yeah, it is. Another thing that I want to do with you guys is work on our calendar of our expected topics throughout the year. We've done that annually. We didn't do a very good job of that last year because we were consumed by one topic. But some of the new testing that we're doing and benchmarking, those type of things, I think we need to incorporate those in and we can get a better schedule. So that's something that's coming up. I want to, if we don't get to that in August, we can do it in September. That's okay. But just know that that's coming, kind of be thinking about how you want that to look as well. And then that'll just kind of guide our agendas. And obviously there's some other things in there as well, but that's a really good guide for us. So.
On that note, I was actually going to ask you tonight to get that board calendar again. And I'm sure it's probably been shared, but I just don't remember what it's called or titled, if it's on Google Docs. Does that
So
make sense?
are you looking for this one that has it? Yeah, so it's
For each
on Google Docs and it's actually called our board. Did you search for the board calendar?
I did.
Yeah,
Is there-
I'll dig it out here. for you.
Okay.
Yep.
And then I just wanted to share that with the rest of the board too, that we're kind of starting into a new a new school year and fiscal year, and realizing that we kind of have topics for each month. And it's helpful if you guys know what's coming up. And if you have something in mind and realize, oh, that's in 2 months, then you can
Right.
table it until that time. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
That's a good idea.
And that way too, I have a little accountability of people helping me to make sure we get back on track, because we really did deviate from that whole schedule last year. So
Mhm.
now it's time to get back
Right.
and do that.
So one of the things we had on there as well, and we can discuss that, but kind of be thinking about was we'd set up a time for, as you guys ask questions, and a lot of the new people ask a lot more questions. That's very typical and normal, and I want you guys to learn. And knowing that if you can ask those questions prior to our meetings, if we do an email exchange, whatever, we can bring them up. Obviously, we want the public to know those questions and answers are happening, but could help condense our meetings just a little bit. Kind of shorten that and give us a little bit more time to prepare as well. Sometimes off the cuff, we've had big days like everybody else has, and it's, don't really know that. I do, but I don't, so that would be, we'll talk about kind of a timeline on that, and then like getting out our board packets to you guys and, our reports and kind of how all that works, and just kind of go through all that again. So.
When I type in board calendar, I just see like the board
The
meeting
Google Calendar.
calendar. Scheduled meetings, but not our board calendar topics.
What's that called? I don't think,
No, just in docs.
I don't think that's not just a regular calendar, but like this We just have a
It's something
list of
he
topics.
generated.
There's topics.
Yeah, I just don't, in docs, it just.
And I know it was shared with us before, but kind of, I have to know the name of it to find it. Yeah.
Yep.
No.
It shows you how much we've used it the last year. It's terrible.
It is
Yeah, it's been
actually.
shared
Yeah.
with us, but
I've thought of it 3 or 4 times, but
I have too, and I'll find it here in a bit. So
okay, no
we can
hurry.
continue on.
No
Yeah.
hurry. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, I'll get it.
All right. Shall we let you just flow right into discussion
Sure.
for the Timberline classroom build?
Yeah, so Jerry sent this memo, and did you guys get a chance to read that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me pull it up here so everybody can see. So basically, my conversation with Jerry was the same as what we've had before. Is we have a possibility of getting things out to do the concrete portion of it, and basically stub everything in. We have a contractor that's interested there. I know we have another local contractor that said they would bid as well. So tonight, as we go into the action items, that's one of the things is the ask is, do we want to start soliciting bids? He has it separated out, all the concrete, basically on separate plans and what that would entail with the earthwork and all that stuff. If we were to do that, we'd be in a position that next spring, as the snow melts and recedes, we could jump right in and have a really good span of time to really complete before the following school year. Without that, it would still be fairly crunched in the springtime through the year, but it's very doable. It's probably even more doable this way. So that's what I would like to see that happen. I think, talking to him about that, it's a very doable timeline, and it's something that would get us ahead of the curve. So anyway, we can discuss that more during action item. We can have questions, obviously. Go ahead. You have questions?
No, I just think it's important that we hold off on bidding until we actually get the permit from the state
Yep.
and have the details. they're
Right.
requiring.
Right. And he said he was having issues with that, but it should get something back soon.
And when I spoke to him last week, he indicated that the foundation had some issues.
Yeah.
He didn't anticipate anything else. So
Right.
it's just important that we, especially if we're
Yeah.
gonna give them the
Right.
opportunity to start.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, I would like to see that caveat in there as well. Absolutely, that we need to get that permit approved. So,
So is there a way that we could say once the permit is approved, we want to go out to bid
yeah,
without having another meeting? to do
Yes.
so? Okay.
we could do that in the motion. You could actually say that, yeah. Say, we approve this as soon as we get the permit that's approved, and not a huge number of changes, which it didn't sound like there's going to be a lot. That's just some technicalities, I think. So. Yep. Good questions.
There were issues with the foundation in the permitting
The design,
process?
the
Oh, the
engineering of the
design. Oh,
foundation.
I
Yeah.
see. Oh, that's important. Yeah.
It is.
Okay, gotcha.
And I did follow up with the timber folks today and have not heard anything back. So
Okay.
The next will be a phone call.
So I wanted to share with you guys Potlatch approach, and I think I told you that, I think when I saw you the other day, Potlatch shared that they would donate $20,000 to our fund, even if it was towards our temporary structures or whatever, to help us out to get through. And then they would look at, the build and see what they could do to help us with that too. But they said they would,
Well, that's
they'd front us
awesome.
right up front with 20.
Wow.
So
good.
I was, yeah. So we'll see about that. We're doing, that kind of goes back into the same thing. We did get the single wide trailer is set. It's set to be inspected. It's set, it's anchored. Electric is to be hooked up. We'll get it inspected. And then we're putting an ADA ramp into it, and we're going to put covers over both of those steps and the landings and approaches, so we don't have snow build up on those over the winter. So we have a contractor getting ready to start on that and skirting around it. And then the other thing we lack is putting fire alarms. And they said we could use just residential, good quality residential, and then be okay for a temporary. So we're in pretty good shape with that. Space wise, I've talked to Mr. Hunter multiple times about that, and I think he's got that figured out, how we're going to utilize all that. I think we'll be okay this year. So it's all going to work out. It's not ideal, but it's a step. So.
Yeah.
Yep. Been working. We keep going. Ready to move on already?
Any other
Shut it down.
questions? Yeah. Okay.
So the SIP plan, this resource, I attached this. This is a good place for this link so you guys can see what this kind of looks like. Should pull this up. And there is a webinar right here. And just click on it and go through it. It's like I said, it's 20 minutes long maybe, but there's a lot of good information in there. It shows, it goes through each section about how we need to be doing. This is where we'll actually launch the recording. And it talks a little bit about each section, how it's built, why they're doing it, what it's expected. We'll all be on the same page that way. And as we pull together in August, that'd be a great time to pull that together and do that. There's some numbers I'll try to pull together. I will pull together before the August meeting that are pretty generic, but think about some of the goals you guys want to put in there as well. We've been working on the math goals. And, we can certainly continue to do that, but there's some other things in there we got to put in. One of the things that's new is we have to report the ratings, the overall ratings of our teachers, our certified staff. And they want us to make sure we group that together so we're not identifying any individual. So they recommended like by subject matter or whatever it might be, some big general groups. So we have some data to track down the line. The strange thing on these type of reports is every single piece of information we put in this report, they already have. It all comes from our ICE reports that we've already reported, every single piece of it. Then we have to pull it out, put it in a different format, give it back. So the State Department of Education has our ICE reports. We pull it from the state, pull it out and give it to the State Board of Education, which is redundant work.
It's pretty Idaho.
It's pretty everywhere. So that's a frustrating piece of it. And then of course there's the benchmarks, and we can create some of our own goals and benchmarks as well. So we'll go through that plan, and I encourage you guys to take a look at that. It's a great thing to do right before your little insomnia. It's actually it isn't that bad of a webinar. It's better than some I've been to. So
It actually felt like this modification is closer to the old
it is.
form than what they developed a year or two ago. I was like, what? I thought we got away from this.
Yeah. So one thing that they did is they took away our literacy plan on a separate form, and it's combined on this. So we really didn't lose anything. We just moved it. So we're still doing the same thing, just in this different format. So yeah, it's a little frustrating. I'm not gonna lie. But we'll get through it and we'll make use of it.
And then when that actually helps us build, or one or the other, our like superintendent goals, build on that builds on the superintendent goals.
They
Those
all
kind of
should
things.
go hand in hand. Yep. And then they trickle right on through to the buildings, to where the rubber meets the road. Yep.
Any other questions? Right, so moving on to action items. Negotiated agreement.
Yeah, so the piece that we kept out of our last time, we pull this up, or did you guys get a chance to look at that? It's electronic fingertips. So down to pass it. Should be a little blue section in there.
Keep going. Oh, yeah, keep going.
Yeah,
There
there
it
it is.
is.
Yep. So we did get this changed. We did find out at our last, and you guys were there at our last, what were we doing? We're doing our budget hearing, I believe, our last
Yes.
meeting, that it was ratified by the union. So that portion is done. So it just lacks board approval. And we'd approved everything with the exception of that sentence change that's in blue there. So if that's accepting, that is, we can move forward.
Okay. Is anybody willing to have a motion to approve the negotiated agreement?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the negotiated agreement. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
So next up is the classroom, Timberline classroom build, just what we talked about. The foundation is what I would recommend with the dirt work and the stepping in of all the utilities, those type of things, the conduits, with that caveat of making sure we had the permit, and then we could move forward with soliciting bids.
So I would make a motion that following receipt of the permit from the state building people, I'm not sure what the organization is called.
Mhm.
So that we go out to bid and seek a general contractor and prioritize construction of the foundation fall of 2021 in preparation for completion in spring, summer of 2020.
I'll second that.
So it's been moved and seconded to, probably should have written this down.
It's okay.
Did you
It's-
write it down?
yeah. Yeah, so it's to move forward with the foundation.
No, the whole thing. So
With-
it's
It's pending
permitting.
we
approval
need the
Mhm.
from the
permit.
Permitting, yep.
state for the permit, and any changes that need to be done.
Right.
We move forward with the bid for the foundation,
No, for general.
For
Get
gen-
the whole
So you
thing
want to try to
bid,
do the general.
oh, for the general.
First.
the whole thing bid out and.
And actually do the
Allow-
foundation.
Allow, yeah.
In the
foundation.
fall.
And allow that
Yeah.
to be bid
Allow
separately.
to bid
Gotcha.
separately.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Entire job.
let me
Yep.
restate that. So it's been moved and seconded to pending state permit approval. Move forward with rebid on the Timberline building project and allow for a separate bid on the foundation work,
Not a separate bid, but an
Yeah.
alternate.
alternate
Yep.
bid on the foundation work. Is that okay?
With completion date of what, like you said, before school starts on 2022. Completion prior. Okay, I think we got it.
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Next up is the alternative authorizations. We have 3 personnel who will be doing that. I have applications for all of them on my desk, and I just
I
need
see.
approval so I can send those in.
Mhm. Mhm.
I move that we approve the alternative authorizations as listed.
I will second that.
It's been moved and approved, moved and seconded. I'm sorry.
You already were-
I am tired tonight. It's been moved and seconded to approve the alternative authorizations as listed. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Surplus items. Quite a few vehicles in the district.
Yeah, these are things we've been trying to thin down for a while and really doing an assessment on what we need and what we don't need. And ooh, that red doesn't show up very good. So you can see this was put together by Ben Jenkins, our transportation director, and he knows the vehicles and what we should and shouldn't have. We still have sufficient vehicles to do what we need to do. The thing we would look at is if we need, we're going to move some things around for maintenance a little bit. You know, their vehicles just run to, bound to builders or to the waste refuse, anything like that. Some, they stay in town, stay pretty local, with the exception Timberline has to travel a little bit to get parts a little bit farther. So most of those are pretty local. If we need more transportation, somebody brought up the idea that maybe we needed another van, a small
Mhm.
van for transporting.
Like a 15 passenger
yeah.
van.
Yep. So
And you can
looking
get
into
by without-
licensing of that and making sure we have all that right. Ben and I will discuss that. I know it's touchy when you get to a certain size of van and a certain number
Mhm.
you can have. So yeah, we can look into that. We want to do a little bit more assessment on what we actually do need and what, is that what do we actually need, or do we need a multi-purpose type vehicle as well? So right now I think it'd be okay. What we're finding, and last year, this is probably isn't a really good, really good supporting data because we didn't do much professional development, but in years prior, since I've been here, we've utilized our school vehicles less and less. People want to utilize their own vehicles more and more. And that makes sense on these roads, whether it's winter, whatever it might be, being comfortable in their own vehicle. And I'm fine with that because, if you're looking at a vehicle cost versus paying mileage, it just makes a lot more sense for us to probably pay mileage, and the liability is still drops a lot. So it's something that I allow them to do because I don't want to put myself or even a member of my family or somebody I know really well or not well. It just doesn't seem, if they don't want to drive that vehicle, I'm not going to say, you have to get in there and drive that vehicle. That just doesn't feel right. So we do, and most people have a pretty decent vehicle now that they'd rather take. So I'd like to lean a little bit more towards that, with the exception of we do need vehicles to do some running and some small errands and stuff. So I'd like to reevaluate, thin those down a little bit, and then move forward. So no big purchases at this point, but we'll definitely look at that.
Well, I think the thought was, somebody approached me about that, one of the coaches, that, if they had a 15-passenger van, they could take everybody in one. And that, I don't think you need to have any particular kind of license to do that. And it'd be a lot cheaper than taking a bus.
Right. And shortage
So-
of bus drivers.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, that was the idea. I think,
Yep.
behind it.
Absolutely. And I think we need to explore every avenue we can with that. So duly noted.
What do we do with the surplus vehicles?
So when I talked to Ben, he said we can do it multiple ways, and legally we can as well. We can put them out for bids or something with the value that is probably what these are. We can just list them and refuse, if somebody tries to underscore or whatever it might be or undershoot us. But we could list them like on Craigslist or, Facebook Marketplace or something like that. It's legal to do with these vehicles. So that would probably be my recommendation is.
Do we have to
list them.
approve to do this?
Mhm.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause
the
they're
board
surplus
has to approve all
Oh.
surplus.
Yeah.
I
Even if
gotcha.
it's a building full of tables and chairs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the disposal process is different than city or
It is, yes. Yeah. So there are some things, there's a certain value if it's less than, and I can't remember that dollar value. It's not very much. I think do you remember, Russell? I think it's less than, I want to say 200 or, original value. You don't have to do that. And we do a lot of that, a lot of disposal, but anything that has any value, we tend to, I want to try to keep track if we can, especially something like this that's going out on the road or possibly to somebody pretty big. So, yeah, so the red is what we're looking at liquidating this year, and we would just advertise and set a time on it, and we can put it in the paper. We can do lots of different things to get it out there.
talk to the city too. They actually had a good response from their stuff being in the lot, the
Oh.
gravel lot next to CT.
Okay.
It's fenced in, so
Yeah.
it's safe, but
Yep.
they could be there for a week or two.
Yeah. I think we can, right now, used vehicles are, no matter what condition you're
Yeah.
looking for, are very difficult to
It's a good
find. So I
time.
think there's a market for them, so I think we can go ahead and liquidate these and then reevaluate. If there's something we need to add, we'll wait till things stabilize a little bit to do that. So, good thought.
So do we need to move to follow Ben's plan of action here? Well, I'm going to move that we follow the plan of action that's listed here on these vehicles that Ben's put together.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the plan
To surplus. Yep.
for the surplus vehicles as listed.
Mhm. Yep.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. New hires and separations,
Just one.
one. Mhm. Can I have a motion?
Well, I move that we accept the new hires here.
Hiring a maintenance man, losing a bus driver.
Maybe.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the new hires as listed. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Let's see, would suggest we talk about board member input for future agenda items now, and then we'll go into executive session, which is going to be 3 parts,
How many parts?
3,
3?
kind of. 1 with you, 2
Oh.
without you.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as we do the one with me first.
Yep, we're doing
I'm
that
good with
first. And then my thought was, is we'd actually let them go when we're done. We'll just go and to another room and Russ can pack up. And we can just, when we're done, I'll just email you the time that we adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
Would that be fair?
Yep.
Okay. So we can let everybody else have an early night. And I think we can be quick. We just have some talking to do. And yeah, I was gonna say for the public, we can actually share. It's just about evaluations. We're due for our yearly evaluations of ourselves, administrators. So
Yeah.
we're gonna just learn that process tonight.
Right.
And it has to be done under executive session.
So in general, I guess we just real quickly kind of, so if anybody's watching out there, so the superintendent process is setting goals, and I'll go through that process with you. And it's a very open, and we have report back ends at certain times of the year, and we'll go through more details of that. And those again tie into our continuous improvement plan. And then I in turn try to get those, become part of those building goals as well, not just district-wide goals, but building goals. So they're all kind of trickled together. So it's a pretty good process, and I like the process actually. So we'll learn more about the details of that as we go, and that's something we do in executive. So questions about that kind of in general?
Then I will need a motion to move into executive session.
We go to executive.
Pursuant Idaho Code 74.
Idaho Code 74-206-1A.
Perfect.
Perfect.
That one always gets me.
You wanna second it?
Oh, I'll second.
There you go.
Well done.
It's been moved and seconded to move into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74-2061A.
Roll call.
Roll call.
So I will do that. Trustee Drew.
Here?
Are
It's
you
a
yes.
yes
going
or
into-
no.
Yes.
It's a yes or no.
Yes or no? Trustee Pomponio,
Yes.
trustee St. Germain,
Yes.
trustee Herbst,
Yes.
and trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
So we are going into.
Thank you.
17.
Wow. That was an amazing meeting.
Yes, you will.
Well, it's stuff. we've already
So
been
do you
working
want
on.
to end our, is there going to be any announcements after?
Wow.
I'm kind of just like, oh, I
Yeah.
guess.
We're not going into hours.
Okay, so there will not be any.
Yeah.
Let me ask.
Yeah.
Will we be ready to approve the superintendent evaluation tonight?
Are you good?
If we don't publish it, we don't talk about it. It's just a quick statement of.
I'm fine either way.
Let's do that.
Let's do that tonight. We're all here to refresh.
We want us to keep,
Back.
yeah, we'll come back and do a public statement, and then you guys go back into executive to do the others. Do you need 2 out of 3 of these? So we're still going here.
Yes.
You might want to turn yours on.
Okay. What would work best?
I don't care, whatever, if you want to do that, we're pretty early.
We are.
You have to stay.
Yeah, it's fine. But we can
We
clean
can
up
get that
everything but
done
one
in-
microphone. We can clean up
Yep,
everything but one
we sure
microphone
Mhm.
and be ready for that, and then we can check down.
And we could do that first, and then we could do,
And then go back into executive.
and go back into executive
do
to
that.
finish everything else.
Yeah, we'll just have to note the times.
Okay.
It's fine by me.
Okay,
All
let's go for it. Okay.
right, so we're
I'm
going
gonna
into
take my
executive, Russell. We'll leave that.
Do we have a room we could hang out in?
evaluation.
And board evaluation, just to make it official.
All in
let's do
same.
that.
Turn. Executive. At 8. So who's making the motion? Who's seconds?
So I'll move that we accept the superintendent and the board's annual evaluation report.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the superintendent and board evaluations annual report. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. And meeting adjourned. At 8:45.
Oh, good.
Where are you going in Oregon?
Fine.
Yeah, I'll go to Eugene for